about the things, and we worked against the odds and made it possible what we're seeing today and what we're doing today. So just to give you an idea, ECMO stands for extracorporeal membrane oxygenation. It is also called extracorporeal life support because we're trying to support both heart and lungs here. And it gives both oxygenation and hemodynamic support from outside the body. And you can say this is the best collaboration between the biomedical engineering, physiologists, physicians, and the healthcare professionals. So we'll come to that in a bit. So the thing is, Jenny started when Dr. John Gibbon, the cardiac surgeon, who developed the first ruler form for extracorporeal support. He had a patient with pulmonary embolism died with him, and at that time he thought about extracorporeal life support could keep the patient alive until the pulmonary embolism resolves on its own or some other measures have been done. So with his wife he developed the first ruler form. It was put in clinical use in after almost like 20 years. When he performed the ELSO an 18-year-old girl, and that came out very well and doing well later on. But most successful when 1950s when Walter Lilheim, the father from modern cardiac surgery, performed the cardiac surgery using a verbal oxygenator. That's when the patient was kept alive with extracorporeal support with oxygenation as well. But there's a lot of problems with it as well, verbal oxygenator. And it became more sophisticated and more oxygenation could be done long when a silicon membrane was synthesized and which could withstand hydrostatic pressures of the pump and at the same time allowing the gas exchange to happen. And the first ECMO was done by Dr. J.D. Hill in 1972 for a 24-year-old road traffic accident victim with ERDS. That's the photograph you've seen earlier. You've seen, so ECMO equipment is filling the entire room basically. But it is the Dr. Robert Bartlett who made the big change and revolution in the ECMO, who is considered the father of modern ECMO. He did an ECMO in following cardiac surgery in 1972 after a transposition of great arteries when the heart didn't recover after the surgery. But all this time it's all happening in the operation theatre. It never came out of the operation theatre. He made it possible to bring it out of operation theatre at the bedside into the intensive care when he did ECMO for a mechanism aspiration with persistent pulmonary hypertension for this girl. The interesting story is mother is a refugee from Mexico, I think, and she came into US when she was almost term and delivered the baby in one of the hospitals and with mechanism, and baby was quite sick. So at that time there was no nitric oxide, so doctors were struggling with high pressure ventilation. They did all they could do, but still not able to achieve the good gas exchange. That's when they called for Dr. Bartlett. So he came out to this NIC with all its team and equipment, put the baby on ECMO. Mother gave permission to do consent for ECMO, and then she abandoned the baby and left. So after the baby put on ECMO, kind of mother left, and she survived, and she's later on when she's become adult. So that was the first ECMO. This is me with Dr. Bartlett. He's one of the figures. He's still alive. This was last year at Abu Dhabi, the ELSO program. So it's all case reports only so far. So there was a need for the trial needs to be done. So the first trial was done in 1975 to 79 with adult patients involved, like half and half randomized to ECMO and half to conventional treatment, but there's no difference in the survival. One of the criticism for this study was when we talk about ECMO is when we go on ECMO, the purpose is to give a rest in heart, rest to the lungs and the heart, which was not done in this study. So that may be the possible thing. So they didn't come down the ventilatory requirements or inotrope requirements. So because of that, it didn't become that much popular in adult intensive care. And then Dr. Bartlett did a neonatal ECMO where once he got the success in mechanism aspiration, the way he did it is when you get so you got two patients, one randomized, not randomized, one to ECMO arm and other one to conventional treatment. And if wherever you get the success, the next patient goes to that arm. So in that way, conventional first patient died, and then they got success with ECMO. So the next three patients went on going on and on ECMO, and all the patients went on ECMO. They all survived. Again, criticism is it's not a like proper randomization, but it did prove the point that ECMO was helpful and it helped the patients. And somewhat in similar lines, another study was done in Boston Children's Hospital in 1986. In a similar way, where the 4 patients were blocked to either ECMO treatment or 4 patients to conventional. Wherever the most success, the next 3 patients went to that side. So again, same criticism happened because it's not a proper randomization. But again, it proved the point that ECMO was being offered, and there's almost some point to saying that why were the people given not given option of ECMO when they're so sick? So things were going on. So in 1989, Extracorporeal Life Support Organization is formed. It's based in Michigan. This is an organization which collects the data all over the world, and the SWACLC is a part of a subchapter of that ELSO. And they also come up with the guidelines and publish manuals and textbooks, and they help the ongoing research. So there was a need for the proper randomization, randomized controlled trial was needed, and it was done in 1992 in UK, where Sunil is working at the moment in Leicester in neonatal ECMO. The way in the UK it works is it's a national program, so only few centers are given permission to do ECMO. So if somebody needs ECMO, all the patients will come to that center. So they took the advantage of that and tried it half and half, and it put beyond doubt that ECMO is useful in a neonatal age group, mainly mechanism aspiration syndrome. So until this point, the still adult people didn't believe there's not much adult ECMO is being done, but it became the standard of care in neonatal population. Similarly, in a pediatric population, there was no randomized controlled trial done, but retrospective data showed that it was useful in a pediatric age group as well. And that prompted to do another study in adults in 1994, but again, that showed no benefit of ECMO. So pretty much adult intensive care didn't believe ECMO was useful to the adult ARDS patients. So until 2009, then you can say 2009 maybe a defining year in ECMO history, where the seasonal trial published. Another thing happened was H1N1 influenza pandemic. That's when adult intensive care people got stuck with the loads of patients with ARDS where they could not ventilate them. And they didn't have an option other than trying ECMO. At the same time, seasonal trial published. And even the ECMO technology has become more sophisticated and miniaturized. So a little bit about Caesar trial, which was done at Leicester. So inclusion criteria was potentially reversible respiratory failure with Moodle score of more than 3, and uncompensated hypercapnia with pH of less than 7.2, and is all adult patients. So what they've done is when the patient gets a referral to the ECMO center, so they will be randomized to either conventional treatment or ECMO treatment, and if they needed ECMO, they will get shifted to the ECMO center where the ECMO is being done. Then what it showed basically is there's a more survival in ECMO group compared to the conventional treatment. That survival benefit is even more good at 6 months follow-up. Right, that's what they used it. It was quite bulky at that time, but it became more sophisticated with a couple of companies in Germany putting resources and modifying the equipment. So it became so miniaturized, it's like a same size of ventilator, you could say. With the newer ECMO, with mobile ECMO, it's even more smaller than that. So in the previous days, ECMO, there need to be a lot of sedation and paralysis. All the patients have been intubated, and there needed to be 24 specialists, ECMO specialists needed, and the bleeding was a major issue. And with the new modified equipment, those problems are a little less. Coming back to Indian scenario, so there's one thing I didn't mention in the history was the discovery of heparin. We'll go